Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Peace Talks, where we catch up with the bands and artists that come into play for us at the Mars Bar in Worcester. And today I'm joined by David Preston, who will be bringing his brand new trio up to the Mars Bar on Thursday, Thursday the 22nd of February. So hi David, and thanks for joining us today.
Hello. All right.
Grand. So you're joining us from London today, right?
That is correct. Yes. I currently am in London.
Cool. Great scene going in London, and we've had a lot of artists come up from London. So great to be able to get you onto our program. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, David. Your sort of musical background and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been playing the guitar for a very long time, and born in London. Got to kind of grow up playing here with many really great musicians. Just kind of kept on doing it, really. I mean, yeah, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but yeah, I just kind of kept on trying to make music, write music, play with other musicians I like to play with. And yeah, just been doing it again and again and again.
Cool. So did you start on guitar? Was it always guitar? And so
Yeah.
what age is that sort of?
Yeah, so I actually was given a guitar as a Christmas present when I was 6 by my aunt. So I've had it in my hands for quite a while, but I never really kind of started doing anything with it, probably until I was about around 16 or so. I was kind of dabbling with it, and yeah, and then I kind of started getting more and more into it, and yeah, and then I kind of thought, maybe I could give it a go and try and play more. It was about when I was 20, I think, or maybe 19. I got asked I got asked to do some gigs around London with that pop singer Charlotte Church.
Okay.
And she was going, like, I know she does like classical stuff, but she was doing like a kind of thing into like pop singing, and and um and I think maybe my parents at that point was like, oh, he's kind of earning like a bit of money now, doing that, so maybe there's something into it. And yeah, they never till this day told me to get a real job, so I'm still waiting for that day, though. Maybe they will at some
It is
point.
a real job. It is a real job.
Oh yeah. I have to keep reminding myself.
Cool. Did you go through any? Did you sort of study music at school? Did you go on to do any sort of further education, or did you just get stuck in playing?
Well, both really. I did go to Middlesex for a year, which they had a jazz degree there, and I went to Trinity for a bit, which is where I technically got my degree, although I never I never actually attended my graduation. And shall we say, I was there at Trinity. I was there physically, maybe not so much mentally. Yeah, I don't think music education is for everyone, shall we say.
No, that's cool. And so and with jazz itself, is that something that's sort of you were always drawn to, or did you kind of get into it through other avenues, or?
Yeah, I think, in like probably like most guitarists, actually, I kind of came through it from a roundabout way. Because I loved, I was playing guitar, and I kind of was into kind of guitar based music, and then the more and more, my uncle actually turned me on to a lot of kind of more out there things like prog rock and Coltrane and jazz. And so I kind of got into it later. And then a friend of mine showed me Bitches Brew and In a Silent Way. And then it kind of, and then I was kind of working back from that, really.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I guess everyone's got their kind of own path, really. But yeah, just kind of always, yeah, I never felt like I had a kind of clear path through jazz. It was always just kind of through finding this and finding that, and then that led me down a different rabbit hole,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. So
which
the
yeah,
sort of fusion angle, I suppose, sort of came through with the Preston-Glasgow-Lowe trio.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us about that. So when did that start up?
So I met Kevin around 2008, I think. He came to London from Scotland, and he sent me a MySpace message, as we did
MySpace.
back then,
Wow.
saying, yeah, one thing was good for, saying like it'd be great to meet up and play, and we did, and we just kind of kept in touch. And yeah, and I guess in many ways that band is fusion, but I guess to me and Kevin, we were very particular in that band about um certain elements of it, particularly around the like improvising, which I think hopefully um made it then a lot of times just playing over kind of amps or grooves that are associated with fusion. But not to say that I dislike the F word or fusion. I love fusion music. So yeah, and we just started playing all the time. And then Kev would write music, I would write music, and we got Laurie involved because he's a great drummer. And
Yeah,
he was
he's played
kind
a
of one
couple
of
of
the
times up with us with Project PH. And I think he's coming back with Sam
oh
Leeks,
yeah, yeah.
Looking Glass in
All
May,
right.
April. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, great drummer.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, he's a really really special drummer, and yeah, just kind of fit that vibe, and we just kind of yeah tried to turn it into a thing. So yeah, it's a fun band. Yeah, we haven't kind of. I get, it's kind of funny. I get asked a lot if we're doing more music, and yeah, there's no plans as yet to kind of do more stuff, but there's no plans to stop or anything. So
Right.
I think it's I've kind of started a different thing with this different project of mine, and I know Kev's had a baby I think a few months ago, so he's kind of hands on deck with stuff like that in terms of writing kind of mad fusion music is maybe not top of his list of priorities. So yeah, but hopefully we'll keep on doing some stuff. And it's an interesting band because we don't there's like a kind of a few things that we don't necessarily want to pursue, which is kind of um you know getting in guests or
Keep
and
it as a trio as the original. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, who's to say maybe something new will happen. It's also kind of when you have kind of a pure kind of dose of trio. It's kind of actually interesting to try and think about how to write for that and how to kind of do it past a couple albums. Because I think if we did do something again, it would have to be. I'd feel like we have to have something different to say than the last two albums.
Right. Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than just repeat the same record.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's bubbling maybe in the back of our minds.
Grand.
Yeah.
So you've worked with some great players as well alongside. You worked with Jeremy Stacey quite a bit. Who
Yeah.
he came up on earlier this year in January, and he's due to come back with us in April with Ian Ballamy's IBQT.
Right.
Unfortunately, so he's in your new trio. He's part of your new trio that you.
Yeah, kind of. And yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just kind of I'm exploring this thing, I think, of whoever's up for it.
Right.
And yeah, I thought of Jeremy because I love his playing, and yeah, he's kind of into that kind of thing. He really gets um the whole guitar drums like relationship thing, which I think is obviously quite important for me.
Yeah.
It kind of goes without saying, but yeah, you kind of want musicians in you play with to kind of respond to that thing. So most of the drummers I wind up working with, they're into that kind of thing, that sound, which I think obviously helps.
Yeah.
Certainly helps feel a little bit more comfortable, in
Cool.
that thing.
And I think I'm
yeah.
trying to remember because I saw Emma Rawicz at the Brick Lane Jazz Festival last year. I know Kevin was on bass there, and Jamie Murray was on drums. Were you playing guitar in that one? Yeah, I thought it was. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I was sort of fitting between loads of gigs and seeing lots of artists together. So
cool. Yeah. That's a fun band. Yeah, and I play a lot with Jamie. Yeah, he's hopefully got an album coming out soon, which I'm on. Or he brought over David Binney
right
to do it. Yeah, which is really fun. And yeah, I've known and played with Jamie for a while. And yeah, he's another great drummer.
And talking of other great drummers, you played as part of, I think, I can't remember what it was, a special event, wasn't it, where you were playing with Emma and also Gary Husband?
So in 2021, I got a message just out of the blue from Gary Husband asking me if I'd like to play with his band for the Jazz Festival, which was kind of really, I was not expecting it at all. I didn't know. I'd met him a couple of times before, and so yeah, which was incredible. Yeah, really, really cool. And we played a lot of his music for that gig. And yeah, he said he wanted to do some more stuff, but I know he's a busy guy, so
He's
we'll see.
he's incredibly busy, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's like such an incredible creative mind. He's kind of doing so many kind of things, and obviously I think maybe at the time from 2021 till about now was working a lot with John McLaughlin, and
Fourth Dimension band, yeah. So I actually the first time I met Gary, the only time I actually met him in person, because I went down to the Shakti 50th as final tour down in Hammersmith. And
right, yeah.
Gary opened for that. I can't remember for the life of me the name of the guy who was on guitar there. But yeah, they opened. And
it was William Lee, the guitarist.
That's the one, yeah. And yeah, I just happened to be in the Wetherspoons pub afterwards on the way back to my hotel. And in walks Gary with True, and it's hard. Right. Yeah, great. I had a great little chat with him. It was quite funny because we were talking about the sort of smaller audiences, sort of talking about what I was getting going up in Worcester, and he was saying about the gigs that he used to do in the 80s with Alan Holsworth, and you'd have like 10 people in the room. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right, yeah,
crazy to think there's musicians of that caliber, and it's they're playing to that small audience.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame, but yeah, I mean, I think he's proved those people wrong. That they're kind of naysayers, just by having incredible career playing amazing music with incredible musicians all over the world. And it's a shame. It's a shame that there's certain parts of the scene, probably in every country, but I've especially seen it in England, that just don't seem to kind of respond or respect that kind of thing. But luckily, it with a voice like that, it kind of will find a way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're out there. We just have to find them and drag them in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, it was amazing to work with him, and it was just it was a little bit kind of crazy because he would tell me stories about times he was working with Alan, and there were a few moments on the gig where it was kind of like we're playing trio, and I was just kind of feeling like, wow, that drum sound is really recognizable, I really
right.
And then it's like, I've heard it for I've been listening to it for like decades, and now it's like kind of right behind me
right
on stage. And so it was a really, really cool experience. So hopefully we'll get to do more stuff, just see what happens. See if he's got a free day in his diary.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your current projects then, because I think when you first contacted me back in I can't remember, sort of late last year, I think you just released the Purple Black album, and we're sort
Yeah,
of toying with that. But so yeah, tell us a bit about the sort of project, and you know how that is and how that relates to the trio that you've got now as well, sort of what you're working on.
yeah. Well, the purple black thing I think was just I I wanted to do something slightly different, and I worked and known Kit Downs, who's the pianist on that record, for a number of years, and we did this a couple lockdown things, um, but yeah, it just kind of made sense to kind of to do something with him in mind. And I'd started writing the music I was writing was kind of it maybe wasn't as fusiony. I don't know. Some of the things on the record are kind of fusiony or have, but there's other things that where I kind of also wanted to get away with that. I kind of gave myself like a list of things of, and one of the things was no syncopation.
Okay.
Because yeah, and things with very kind of straight lines to it. And I kind of knew if I played it with the right people, that it would work,
Hmm.
and and I think get a kind of different sound that's maybe still kind of like jazz, and it has a modern jazz sound, but it's not as kind of yeah, angular as a lot of other kind of
Right.
uh those kind of things. And then of course, like after I'd done that for a while, I kind of thought, well, I'm also interested in all these other things. And so I think going from project to project, you kind of want to explore different musical kind of concepts and ideas, and that's what gives it its own identity.
Hmm.
So with this new thing, I'm kind of more interested in the idea of I guess what you could call like polytime
Right.
concepts, which is again, it's nothing really that new or anything. I just kind of wanted to explore it myself, but just the idea of like overlapping or relating different um, feels and time signatures to each other. It was I kind of did that with Preston-Glasgow-Lowe, um, and it's always, I think, an element of most jazz musicians' kind of vocabulary. But I kind of yeah, I've just been thinking about that more recently, which again is like a kind of opposite approach to, I guess, the purple black stuff. But
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
still really like playing some of those tunes, so um, yeah, we're gonna do that as well. And it's kind of all blends into one, really. I don't necessarily just want to shelf one project and start another. It's kind of nice also exploring it with different musicians and seeing how they do it, because then it kind of feels like you've got this thing that will last, forever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
even if you play a tune in one way with someone, it's going to sound completely different with somebody else. And yeah, I quite like that.
It's like you got
So
the core main meal, but you change the seasoning every, adjust the seasoning each time, sort of thing. For the
right, yeah, and it will forever change. And yeah, it's yeah, it's always very interesting. I mean, I think I know Gary got that from Alan,
Mhm.
and maybe Gary inspired me in that way. In that if you trust and like a musician's sensibility, then you can just kind of present them with something like a core, um you know some kind of fragment of music,
Yeah,
or
an
a
idea
piece of
that you
music,
got.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and something cool will happen with it. Yeah, so that, yeah, that's really, there's nothing really that deep about it. It's just yeah, just finding musicians that I think will do a good job and sound good together. So yeah,
Fantastic. So yeah, if you
and
could
that's
just
that's kind of,
introduce us to the trio that you'll be bringing up on Thursday. Who have we got there?
yeah. So it'll be Connor Chaplin on bass and Joel Barford on drums. So when Jeremy, for those listening, if you were expecting Jeremy, he unfortunately was called by some rather well endowed, both musically and financially and otherwise, shall we say, rock stars, American rock stars, and will unfortunately not be with us in Worcester, but will be in LA. But he recommended this great younger drummer called Joel Barford, who I've known for quite a while, actually, quite a few years, and we played off and on. And yeah, he'll be great. He's a really interesting younger drummer who can kind of one of those guys who can just play anything and it will sound great. And that will be the kind of the trio that we're heading out with next week. For most band leaders, like for myself, I just kind of care about the bass and drums being good.
Yeah.
And then yeah, if that's element is there, then yeah, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think like you mentioned when you earlier in the week that Jeremy had to pull out. You know, we've had some fantastic artists on the come up and play for us, and they are that caliber that get snapped up. It was interesting because Joel, I think, is Joel and Tom Barford. Are they brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they look very similar. So Tom was actually, so we had Tristan Banks. He came out for his clear View from Above tour, and he originally had Paul Booth in on sax, but Paul had got pulled away on the Strictly Come Dancing tour. So Tom had actually was due to depth for.
I didn't know Paul danced, but I can see it
in the band, of course. Yeah, so these it's great that the musicians are getting those big gigs coming in. But yeah, Tom Barford was due to appear in Paul's place, and that was all good until I think he got a stomach bug or something 24 hours before. So we got Tom Smith came in. He did a cracking job actually with 24 hours notice on that gig.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we'll get Tom up at some point as well. But
yeah, I've not actually worked with Tom, but I'm playing in for Emma Rawicz's big band in
okay.
We're doing a few gigs this year, and Tom's going to be, I think, playing tenor, so that's cool. Because I've not actually yet played with him. I've heard a lot about him, so
Right.
yeah, excited.
Yeah, I've not heard him yet, so it'll be good to see him play at some point. So yeah, so really looking forward to welcoming you to Worcester. Is it the first time you played in Worcester? Have you?
Oh, I think it might be actually. I mean,
I love being able to claim that.
Yeah, you can show us where all the spots are. Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is. Unless, like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. It's consciously it's the first time I think I've played in Worcester. So yeah. Yeah.
Grand. We're slowly but surely putting on the map for the West Midlands tour scene. So yeah, that's going to be grand. So
well, it's great. It's really great that you've got a venue and putting on the kind of slightly more out there music. I guess modern jazz or whatever you want to call it. Because yeah, it just kind of keeps the scene alive, and it gives musicians somewhere to play. So thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Really enjoying it. So yes, have a safe trip up. And I believe you've got you're stopping in the area because you've got another gig the following day.
Yeah, we're playing in Cambridge at Stapleford Granary the day after on the 23rd.
There you go. So if anyone's watching and can't make the Worcester date and you're near Cambridge, get yourselves over to there on the Friday for that gig. But otherwise, as I say, safe trip up on next Thursday the 22nd of February for David Preston's new trio at the Mars Bar in Worcester. Thanks very much, David. Take care.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.